the first one that you put out there is purpose is really important. And the first thing I thought, and you actually nailed it right as I thought about it, is like, it seems very self-evident, like you seem like you should learn this in here, but still it's kind of like it's something that you learn maybe even deeper down the line from there. Like, is this something that is this something that was just kind of a deeper lesson that you learned as it was going, or like was it like a new like aha moment or like epiphany that made you realize that purpose is this important?
Yeah, I think ultimately what happens, and when you're in a business for a long time, you maybe lose, you don't lose the ultimate why, because look, if we weren't doing fitness, it's like, one of our core values is humor with a touch of crazy. We always say like, it's fitness, like let's have some fun. We could be investment bankers if we wanted to bore ourselves to death and make money, right? So I think, but what really reminded me of purpose being so important, even though I knew it, was hearing it from all the candidates, right? And so if you can imagine the ideal alloy candidate, there's a certain threshold of net worth that you have to have. You have to have a certain amount of liquid capital on hand, because you've got to open a brick and mortar business, and there's just certain things. So people that are in that situation, typically they're either very successful at a young age, and we've got some younger franchisees, of course, but most of them kind of fall into the same customer avatar as our customers, which are sort of like 45 to 65, tired of corporate, looking for that next go around. And almost to a person, everyone will say, first of all, can I get return on investment? Because if you can't get that, then there's no point in even taking something to franchising, and they're not going to buy it anyway, right? But once you can answer that question, then it becomes about purpose. And to a person, everyone is so excited to say, I worked in corporate and I made these widgets and I was just a cog in a machine, and I didn't really understand how what I was doing was making a difference in the world. This is something that I can really understand, what I'm doing, making a difference for people. And so when I just kept hearing it over and over, and I think for me, it was the realization that I was surprised, which seems odd, because that's also why I do what I do ultimately. But like in franchising, it's like two separate businesses, man. You're in the fitness business and you're in the franchise business. And so we're really good at the fitness business. We're learning the franchise business, and the franchise business is the same, whether I'm franchising, water or fitness as an example, right? And so you can get bogged down in the minutia of the litigious nature of franchising, or you're in meetings and contracts, and I mean it's just there's a lot of like heavy lifting on that side of the house. So you just kind of get further away from the end product, right? And so sometimes it takes the people that are interested in it speaking back to you how passionate they are about having something in their life that has purpose, and it reignites that excitement in you. And that was sort of the realization. It's like, wow, everybody that comes to, say, Discovery Day, which is the last step in the sales process, and we get to break bread and sit down and have dinner, they all just go on and on about how great it is, and they can't believe that they would have the opportunity to get into a business that has purpose. And I've been doing it for 31 years. So, of course, I'm like, well, duh, yeah, I mean, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about this, right? And so I think maybe shame on me, but I think when I thought about it, it also reminded me of like we used to do accredited internships. And I just took for granted how long we've been doing what we're doing and how many systems we had in place. And so you bring in these young interns and they're just so excited about the thing, right? And their excitement actually excites you. And that's how it's been in franchising. It's like, oh, other people's excitement about having the opportunity to own and run a business that has purpose has reignited my, passion for what we do, because it's easy to forget when you're just, blocking and tackling all day, every day. And so, yeah, it was almost one of those duh realizations where I'm like, well, duh, of course people want to have purpose in their lives. That's why I do what I do. But I'd gotten so far from that at times that it was nice to have them remind me, if that makes sense.